Every August, we all make the same calculation. Whether you're allocating a betting bankroll or spending premium fantasy draft capital, you have to decide where to place your chips on end-of-season NFL awards. But if you base those decisions strictly on raw player talent, you are basically playing roulette. That approach consistently drains bankrolls and tanks draft strategies before October even hits. You're always weighing two competing forces: how reliably an asset has performed historically versus how high their absolute statistical ceiling can go. We can map out exactly how much external luck a player needs. This quadrant chart breaks down the anatomy of an NFL award, measuring situational dependency against historical reliability. When you plot the current predictions, the divide is clear. Safe, low-dependency anchor bets sit comfortably in the top left, while highly volatile, hype-driven narratives cluster down in the bottom right, demanding a lot of outside help to succeed. Mainstream media predictions love that bottom right quadrant. They build their cases entirely on optimistic if-then scenarios, ignoring the baseline probabilities that those scenarios will actually play out. Our goal right now is to cut through that optimism. We are going to isolate the exact structural conditions required for these 2026 predictions to hit, allowing you to objectively weigh the actual risks involved. Because when you acquire high-ceiling players who carry deep structural flaws, you leave your entire fantasy roster or betting portfolio vulnerable to a single point of failure. Look at the heavy favorites for MVP and Comeback Player of the Year: Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. Joe Burrow has an elite, proven ceiling. We know he is fully capable of a 4,900-yard, 43-touchdown output. But you have to contrast those massive numbers against his documented physical track record. Between ACL, wrist, and foot injuries, Burrow misses an average of 4 or more games a year. This decision tree maps out his MVP path. You invest top capital and immediately hit a bottleneck. Only a 30% probability he avoids missing time. Even playing 17 games, your payout remains securely gated behind the Bengals' defense stepping up to make the playoffs. The math is equally harsh on Patrick Mahomes for Comeback Player of the Year. For his campaign to cash, he needs to immediately snap back to his 2018 to 2022 baseline metrics under returning coordinator Eric Bieniemy. That means you are paying the maximum acquisition cost, the Mahomes premium, while blindly absorbing the unquantified risk of his mobility limits following a torn ACL. Banking on injury return narratives forces you to actively bet against severe physical trends. If those players miss even a 3-game stretch, you take a total loss on your initial investment. Then we have the candidates whose campaigns are entirely tethered to a secondary, moving part. Guys like Puka Nacua, rookie Carnell Tate, and defensive coordinator Jesse Mentor. Puka Nacua's case for Offensive Player of the Year requires him to repeat his league-leading volume of 1,800 yards and over 100 receptions. The flaw in that projection is that Nacua's production relies heavily on an aging Matthew Stafford maintaining his level of play and staying on the field. You see the same dynamic with Titans rookie receiver Carnell Tate. He's highly pro-ready and enters the league with an incredibly high floor for Offensive Rookie of the Year. But drafting Tate means placing a secondary wager that unproven quarterback Cam Ward will take a massive developmental leap to deliver him the ball. This comparison matrix lines up external triggers against severe risks. For Tate and Nacua, if their quarterback fails, their campaigns collapse. That dependency applies to coaching predictions too. Look at the bottom row for Jesse Mentor's Coach of the Year campaign in Baltimore. Mentor is tasked with elevating a defense that severely underperformed last year, but his schematic changes require immediate, complete execution from a veteran core to avoid an early season slump. The raw talent is already there. With players like Kyle Hamilton flying around the secondary, Mentor's case rests on organizing existing talent, not acquiring it. When you invest in system beneficiaries, you effectively double your variables for failure. You are purchasing a precarious situation right alongside the player's talent. If you want to strip out that volatility, you have to look at anchor assets, investments defined by their high floors and historical baselines. Myles Garrett brings a near-guaranteed elite pressure rate. Now, on a Rams defensive line loaded with interior talent that commands double teams, his floor is ironclad. This checklist scorecard evaluates structural advantages for anchor players like Garrett and Garrett Bowles, comparing baselines to scheme upgrades. Garrett hits every green checkmark, but there's a massive flaw for anyone betting on him. As the overwhelming favorite, financial return is practically zero. Garrett Bowles presents a different version of the same problem. He is an elite anchor who played over 1,000 snaps last season, allowing 0 sacks and only 19 pressures. Bowles provides incredible real-world protection for his quarterback, but his specific position offers absolutely no direct statistical ROI for standard fantasy formats or futures investors. These safe bets do exactly what they are designed to do. They protect you from catastrophic losses. But that maximum acquisition price severely caps any meaningful profit you can make off them. The data shows that not all award predictions are equal propositions. You have to match the player's specific profile to your own risk tolerance. This match table breaks down 3 distinct investor profiles: the aggressive value seeker, the calculated optimizer, and the floor raiser. For aggressive value seekers, target system elevators like Ruben Bain Jr. or Brian Flores. The risk is high, but the potential ROI matches it. Just know that this strategy requires you to endure immense week-to-week volatility while rookies develop and new schemes adapt to regular season speed. For the calculated optimizers, the move is to actively fade players with cascading variables. That means stepping away from Joe Burrow and Carnell Tate due to their compounded risks. Fading high-ceiling players means you will miss out on some historic, highlight reel seasons, but it strictly protects your core bankroll from devastating, unpredictable downside. It comes down to one definitive rule for analyzing any NFL futures prediction. You must separate the raw talent on the field from the specific, fragile circumstances surrounding them. Before you spend your capital, ask yourself one question. Are you investing in the player, or are you investing in a precarious situation?